The following presentation is a Deej Experience production and may not be recorded, rebroadcasted, or retransmitted without the express written permission of Deej Experience, LLC. For more information, visit us online at www.deejexperience.com. Good Saturday morning and welcome into season number 2. It is the Deej Peeps podcast live from the Rossbacher Insurance Studios. My name is Scott Lockwood. I'm joined by my guys this morning, one Mr. Dewey Hurd and one Mr. Stephen Mountain. Mr. Elchinsky is on vacation in Florida. He picked a heck of a week to go to Florida, guys, leaving us here in like 6 feet of snow.
Maybe he picked the best week to go.
Yeah, I think if you have a snowmobile or if you're like a penguin or a polar bear, you're happy. But if you're the rest of us, you're kind of just disgusted by the whole thing.
So, it's been a while since we've done podcasts. You know, last summer we usually knock it off and take a couple months to get ready for the sports season. A lot has happened. Where
do you want to start?
I don't know where I want to start. Personally, my house still needs to be rebuilt. We have siding and roofing coming, so but that's that. The wife's got a new job at the LECOM, the Corey Clinic. This time last year, we were affiliated with another source, and now it's straight up Deej Experience Productions and the Sports Stream, and we've picked up Union City. We've got Northeast going on. We still would like to get them teams involved in the podcast, so coaches out there in those schools and areas and players and whatnot. So here's the deal, right? So we were supposed to have Coach Jeff Goodwill and a few of the Corey football players.
Right.
He wants to reschedule because of the wrestling tournament, and then Hickory pulled a cancellation or whatever. A lot of schools pulled out of that because of the weather. Mother Nature's not being real nice here in the beginning of winter sports.
Yeah, this last week has been atrocious. So pretty much all of this past week got rescheduled. The wrestling match against Youngsville got postponed. The basketball games, I think the boys were scheduled for Cochranton, and they got rescheduled for Thursday, but then they closed school again. So, yeah, Mother Nature's not been nice this week, and starting the next week looks a little bit better, but for this week it's been a little. Mother Nature took us behind a tool shed, so to speak.
Yeah, you're used to being back there, aren't you?
You know it.
Steve-O, you've taken over Union City Stream for now. How's things going over there in the big UC City?
Well, the big UC City, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the fall sports there. Football was a little bit of a rough season for the boys out there in the field. Couldn't find a way to get a victory on the season, but had a couple opportunities, couple close games where I thought they could have won, they should have won, but kind of fell apart in the end. One of those deals. Volleyball team, they had a great year. They finished, I think it was 11-6 on the year. They made the playoffs, so that was a good season for them. They fell a little bit short against Grove City down there in Sharon, but it was a good season. I look forward to covering them next year because they only had 2 seniors on the team, so a lot of room for growth there, and I look forward to getting back there next fall. And obviously this winter for winter sports. So,
did you say volleyball?
Volleyball, I did. I see how I cued him in like that.
Yeah, he's gonna grab that.
Right in.
I'm gonna grab that,
gonna run right
and I'm gonna run with it. Let's get started. Topic number one today, of course, is Corey volleyball. Big news breaking. I got a report sent to me from a head coach and coach of the year, by the way, one Mr. Kelly Goodsell. And first of all, let's talk about the season in general, right? The girls come in, they lose week one against a very tough Freeport team, right? They go down there to get better, and you don't get better unless you go down there in that area and play good teams. Freeport, an excellent program down there. They sweep the season. They get down, had a nail-biter against Cathedral Prep in Richland, both of those games going 5 sets, and about giving me a heart attack both times. And then they get to the state finals and played a stacked Trinity team who lived 20 minutes away from the venue. Don't get me started on that, but the girls end up this season as state runners-up, or as we like to call it, the state champion public school team. So let's start there as you see the picture of the girls up there. And breaking news for this week, 4 all-state players. I'm going to run through them here real quick. Haley Albert, senior outside hitter, led the team with 75 service aces, was second on the team with 242 kills and 318 digs. PVCA, I think I said that right. Maybe I didn't, but state player, right? Aubrey Chase, middle hitter, was second on the team with 62 service aces, third on the team with 39 blocks, fourth on the team with 169 kills, and had 114 digs in limited back row defense. McKenna Moore, second time all-state player, senior libero, led the team with 559 digs, was third on the team with 50 service aces. She is number 2 on the ace list and number 1 overall for career record in the digs mark. And then how about this? Sophomore Grace Allen, outside hitter, led the team with 361 kills, fourth on the team with 27 blocks and 107 digs. A sophomore being named All-State. Man, this program...
She really blossomed late in the year, really came into her own, and I'm not saying that she came out of left field, out of nowhere, but she really blossomed nice towards the later part of the season for the Beavers and carried them into a deep run in the playoffs. So a great experience there for Grace as just a sophomore. Going to be a good staple to move the team forward next year and then the year after that.
When you need a big kill, they go to Grace, right? That kid can leap out of the gym. The hard work has been there. The whole team, there is not one position on that floor, and Rob and I talked about it all the time. We had the 2 best liberos in District 10 by far, maybe even the state. Sydney Woods, who won the Sportsmanship Award this year. You get overshadowed when you play behind a 2-time all-state player, right? And McKenna Moore, just absolutely, she would be starting on any other team you put her on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you got that, too, in the back row, digging up balls right and left. And then that's not even counting the attack. You have Albers, all-state, 2 outside all-state hitters. And then your right side has been solid all year long. Allison Sawyer, Emily Carr. Probably the shortest middle you'll ever see on a volleyball court. Gets named all-state, right? Aubrey Chase and the firecracker that she is. That in itself, it takes a lot, right? It takes the time and effort in the gym workouts, the practices, and all that's orchestrated by the entire coaching staff. Probably the best coaching staff maybe in all of District 10.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough about the coaching staff. They do a ton of work with the girls throughout the season. They help out with all kinds of different things. They're always looking to improve not only the team but themselves, and it shows on the floor with the addition to the different warm-ups that they've had throughout the year, and just a phenomenal job with making these girls better.
Now, I've given them all their flowers. Now let me get to the ugly side of this. Okay? I want to talk about the PIAA, because the PIAA needs to fix some things, right? And I'm going to start with this whole special school stuff, right? The private schools, the playoffs have become 90% full of private schools, and it to me, it's not fair to the public schools that you can take. I think Trinity had kids from like 12 to 15 different schools that they pulled from down in that big Philly area, right? Like, if you ask me, something's got to change with the way they do playoffs, and I think the private schools need to have their own bracket and the public schools have their own bracket. I don't know how it all works. That's issue number one. Issue number two is you try and pick neutral spots for playoff games all year long, right? During the whole D10 playoffs, during the whole state playoff thing, you get to the finals, you got to take a 5.5-hour bus ride, sleep in a hotel. Meanwhile, your opponents are sleeping nice and comfy in their own beds. And then they turn around, drive 20 minutes to a venue that they're probably pretty familiar with. Why does it have to be in a central location? Especially when you're drawing most of the teams out of that area because of all the public schools or private schools, right?
Right.
So those are my issues.
Well, I'll be devil's advocate here. Trinity, the school we're talking about that was 20 minutes away, they've been in the state finals for the last 3 years, and they only have one state championship. So I think those girls were good and hungry for the championship this year, and they took full advantage of their opportunity. So, but I'm kind of in the same boat with you, Scott. I kind of think something doesn't really seem the way it could be better. It could be much better, but for some reason, I don't know how they pick the schools or how they pick their locations. But seems like it's really Trinity had an unfair advantage, sleeping in their own beds, able to get their normal routine, so on and so forth, and then didn't have to deal with all the distractions. And then on top of that, they had a student section that was there in full force. And thank goodness for Beaver Nation showing up in numbers, because if you take that student section out of the gym, I think we outnumbered the people from Trinity.
Yeah, and kudos to Beaver Nation, by the way, because to take that 5-hour trip down there and cheer on your volleyball team. Now, Beaver Nation, we know they travel well, right? They pack stands throughout District 10, but to ask them to go down 5.5 hours, make that trip, have to book the hotel room, it just goes to show we've probably got the best fan base around. Like, every game is packed. No matter where you're at, you're going to see orange and black.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what the venue is. Volleyball, football, baseball, basketball. Just you name it. Beaver Nation shows up in numbers.
A lot of time more so even than the home team that they're playing against, right, on
right.
the road. So, yeah, it's a lot of support from the community for sure.
So that's just my little rant there. Volleyball team, hey, these girls, I knew, Dewey, we covered some back in 7th grade with this group of seniors, and you could have probably put them on the court in 7th grade against some high school teams, and they probably would have beat them.
Oh, absolutely.
They were that good coming up, and just to watch them grow, and now you see the culmination with being state runner-ups, man. And now you got to look at the other side of it now. Next year, what's the team look like? You're missing a lot now, right?
You
but hold
graduate
on, because as Coach Goodsell has said, there were 16 players on that team that could plug in and play. I think the defensive side is where my question marks are for next year. You've got Sid Minio, right? You've got Ellie Carey. You've got Allie Yetzer coming up. It'll be interesting to me how things shake out there. You know what you got in the middle. There ain't no doubt about it. Riley Nickerson's going to step in, and she's going to, she'll continue to grow. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Grace Allen, obviously your go-to for the next 2 years.
Right.
Now you've got to look to the right side. Now you've got Lauren Brundage maybe out there.
Right.
If you don't put her in the middle. You've got a strong setter in Haley Mumaw, who's basically played the last 2 years in that 6-2. So now you need the next setter to step up and take her role as these girls move up. It's going to be interesting to see what the Mad Chemist does with next year. As Pat Goodsell, I think she was the one that made the comment that we had the 2 best teams in District 10.
Yeah.
With our varsity team and then the JV team, who played against that varsity team all year long in practice.
And pushed them.
Pushed them. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. But anyways, congratulations to our volleyball team. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about some basketball season starting underway. And with that, we'll be back right here on the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. Deej Peeps Podcast. We'll be back after this.
We're insurance agents. Of course, we're going to ask you about all the residents of your household, including Granny, who doesn't drive your car. We're insurance agents. Of course, we're going to send you that ID card that you asked for while we were shopping at the grocery store. We're insurance agents. Of course, we drive around the neighborhoods looking at everybody's roofs and commenting on the trees that are going to fall in your neighbor's house. We're insurance agents. Of course, we ask you about your dog and what type of breed they are, and we listen to stories about how they only bit the mailman that one time. We're insurance agents. Of course, we're going to walk around your house and take pictures all sides, and then we're going to talk to you about installing a railing on your steps. We're insurance agents. Of course, we put road service on your policy, but we don't put it on our own. We're insurance agents. Of course, we got boots on our back seat. We've got files galore. We've got paperwork. We've got a measuring tape, and we got briefcases. We're Team Rosback, and we're here to protect your family and your assets that you've accumulated all your life. That's why we're here to work hard for you. P.S. Personal Service.
I do this because I love it. I love working with my hands. I love working with people. I love watching things transform from what they used to be to what we can make them become. We are a full-service general contractor. We do everything from the ground up. We take pride in the fact that we don't use a lot of subcontractors. We have our own in-house masons, cement, roofers, siders, drywall finishing, electricians. This is our 20th year in business, and we started out with just a couple of guys with a cordless kit and a ladder. We've grown from there. We really try to focus on quality of work, quality over quantity. Things don't always happen overnight, and it takes time to make things perfect. We run our business like a business. Everything that we do is professional. With a phone call to us, we would set up a meeting for us to come out and meet with you, go over your project, what you are hoping to gain from it, the things that you want to see input into it, and then I would create a proposal. We would send it out to you, you'd let us know your thoughts, whatever things that we got correct, whatever things need to be worked on, and then we would grow it into exactly what you want. Our employees mean the world to us. We couldn't do what we do without the guys that we have. And we take pride in the fact that most of the guys that have been here for a very long time. If you're looking to have a project done, feel free to reach out to us.
And welcome back here to the Deej Peeps podcast. We are live from the Ross Becker Studios. My name is Scott Lockwood, along with my guys, Mr. Dewey Hurd, Mr. Stephen Mountain, and again, Mr. Rob Elchinski is on vacation in Florida. He should be coming back here any day now if he's not already back. So shout out to Rob, and I want to thank Rob for his help through the volleyball season, and you guys as well. Football season was a blast this year. I want to touch on that briefly before we get to the start of the new seasons. The football team, listen, I thought this year was, and I'm sad that the seniors are gone now, right? This team, but I thought this is what was going to happen last year as this team is juniors. But this year they really turned that corner. And what a great season for these guys. This group of seniors, especially Nolan Carey, just pitching the rock all over the place. Broke a lot of records held by Scotty Frisina.
Yeah, not only just single season records, but
career records.
So,
yeah.
A nice job there by Carey, having a phenomenal career for the Beavers.
You look at the team as a whole, though. Offense gets all the glory, right? But that defense this year, guys, that was masterful at turnovers this year. I've never seen our Beaver team with so many turnovers. Keaton Frisina leading the charge there. It seems like every game Mason Savitz had a pick six. This team was fun to watch this year.
And I'll start it in the trenches. I mean, we had phenomenal line play game after game. Did a nice job on the offensive side, setting things up where we weren't always talking about Carey getting pressure in the backfield, so he had time to get the ball away. And then on the flip side, the defensive line did a nice job of putting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks and causing them to run out of time to throw the ball, so on and so forth, and did a nice job of forcing poor throws or bad choices, and the DBs did a nice job of picking them off. So just a phenomenal job, and it all started from the trenches.
And, of course, our Viking Plastics field camera. Steve, I've commented before on your cam work when you get to be on the field down there. And, man, I hate it when Sammy's not around because he's got to work because then I got to pull you off the field. But we've gotten so many compliments on our broadcasting this year that I'm not sure if it's just the cameras or if it's just that we've grown that much as a team that everything is pretty much buttoned down almost as a professional broadcast. But I just wanted to say thank you to you guys and Jack and all the people that have helped along the way. We have, and I call us all a bunch of misfits, but for the people out there that comment and watch and just encourage us to keep going, next podcast I'm gonna go over our board over here to my left. It's just a thank you notes over the years, and I bought the biggest cork board I could buy, and it's almost full already.
You need to buy another one soon.
Next
year.
We're gonna line the new studio with cork boards of all the thank you cards. But, man, I just wanted to give kudos to you guys in our team and thank those who are watching religiously. And I'm not talking about just Corey fans. I'm talking about people from Warren who tune in and watch. I'm talking about people from Chicago who tune in and watch all the time. A lot of this comes from people who have kids, and they'll have people over just to watch it, and then those people, every Friday night, we're tuning in and watching. And they don't even have a lick of dime to do with anything, Corey. They just like our broadcast. And to me, that's the biggest badge of honor that we can wear when we start captivating the audience of people who don't even live in the area and don't have a lick of beans. to watch this broadcast, and a lot of that goes to you guys, and I especially want to thank all of our sponsors, because those guys are the ones that step up and provide the funds for us to have all these overlay graphics, for us to have the scoreboard. We just bought a new clock system. I'm hoping to get it running for basketball season. That'll take the load off of Steve and Sammy, who come in and run Switch. But just phenomenal job, you guys, this year. And I'm hoping, and it's not tooting our own horn. It's just the fact that I'm grateful for you guys and our sponsors and those that watch. And yeah, what a season to start out with.
You couldn't have asked for a better season from volleyball and football. That got 2024 going well, and
40,000 views in the first 3.5 months.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's still mind blowing. I look at it and I'm like, what is going on, right? But we've turned a page from that. We started up finally after Mother Nature decided to give us a day where we could play. We played indeed. And the basketball teams got going. We're still waiting on that wrestling reschedule match for Youngsville that was supposed to take place on Wednesday, but
they'll get it worked in.
Kind of got snowed out there. So
they'll get it worked in, and we'll be there.
So here's the deal. The both boys and girls got going yesterday, and we covered the boys match, so I want to touch on the girls match first. They played against Cash in the Northwestern tip-off tournament, and they beat Cash 32-26. Haley Elbers lightened the three-point line, the Peace B3 as we call it. Three-pointers, had 4 of them, ended up with 14 total on the night. This team has been one that's been improving. Elchinsky left Coach Mumaw with a good foundation to work with, and Mumaw has since brought in them girls that he had, that middle school team, and that are really firing on all cylinders. And, boy, you get Elbers, Riley Nickerson, Haley Mumaw, the core of that team. I think the Lady Beavers are going to have a good year this year.
But you have teams every year. Coaches put together a schedule, and it used to be everybody wanted to play Corey.
Yeah.
Now, when the coaches put schedules together, very few teams want to come to play Corey because they're an improved team. They're getting better, and they're not an easy W on anybody's schedule anymore. So, and that all comes from the coaches doing a nice job of improving the girls and improving the systems and so on and so forth, and making the program better. So, good to the coaching staff for making it an improved program,
and all the players too for buying into those programs and
right.
coaching's philosophies and the hard work they put them through, and embracing that, and just saying, hey, we need to get better, and this is how we're going to do it, and putting that work in and doing it.
So they're going to have to put some work in today. They got to go up against Presser Palmer and that Northwestern Wildcat team in the finals or championship game, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be a tough task. We wish them well. Now, we couldn't cover the tournament again this year, and I talked to the boosters because the tournaments are booster ran. They're basically booster fundraisers. So we get you don't want to take away from your gate because you're trying to raise money for your basketball team.
Right.
We get that. They were going to let us come in this year, but they were going to charge us $50 a game to do it. I understand the premises of that, but we need to know that ahead of time so we can say, hey, we want to go do this, but they're going to charge us because it's a booster program. They're trying to raise money for their basketball team, but we could go out and get that sponsor, for $200. This tournament is brought to you by so-and-so. So they have told me that for next year's tournament, I'm sure we'll be in it again. It's kind of one of them things when you get into one of them tournaments, you don't leave because it's guaranteed games, right? So next year, hopefully, They said they're going to work with us and try and get a couple sponsors so we can go in and broadcast the games and do it in a way where we're not strapping ourselves financially because we're still young, growing. This is year one on our own. So with that being said, I am excited about that, and I'm grateful for those teams like Northwestern and Cathedral Prep and the teams that we play throughout District 10 that are willing to work with us when it comes to stuff like that, especially for playoff games, because MPI double A fees are just phenomenally too much, I think. So I want to thank Northwestern for being able to kind of, okay, we want you here. Let's navigate a way next year that we can
Find a way to make
it work, so we're not losing gate money, and you can still come cover our teams because they like our coverage, but they don't want to lose money at the door. And I tried to tell them, I'm like, look, Beaver Nation's going to show up because they always do, right? So it's one of them things, but they're going to work with us next year, and we're excited. But Lady Beavers have their hands full today with Presser Palmer and that Wildcat team. She's impressive.
All right, you dropped 31 points in a game, single-handedly outscored your opponent by 10 points. So she's something special to go out and see.
I was sad that she didn't stick around and play volleyball because she would have been a fantastic middle. And but she found her calling in basketball, and we wish her and the Wildcats the best of luck this year. Just not today. On the other side of it, we've got boys basketball last night. Steve was there with me and Mr. Jonkus covering that game. And a 77-50 win over the Union City Bears last night. And unexpectedly, the Beavers, Steve-O, they usually play that three-ball game a lot last year with Ryland and Marcus and Camden. Yeah. We didn't really see Camden take a whole lot. He took that first one in the first quarter, but then it turned into the Landon Dean show underneath quite frequently as he was getting assisted. The Corey Community Foundation assist was abroad last night as Landon Dean racked up 33 points.
Yeah, it was a huge game for sure. And when you have that hot hand in the middle who can just dominate a game and just keep feeding him the ball, and that's the result you get like last night. So it was good to see another wrinkle out of the Beavers this year, at least in their opening game. Know that they're flexible. They have different options that they can go to throughout a game. So,
and that's something that last year I think we were lacking is that ability to go underneath whenever we wanted to. It seemed like Corey lives and dies on the three ball, and that's the way it's been for years. You go all the way back to Albert Zhang, right, when he set the single game record for threes, and then it continued on with Logan Jonkus, and then it was Ryland, and then Marcus kind of took over that role with Camden Moon there. Camden last year, I believe, second all-time single season record for threes, and it's going to be fun to watch this year because you can guard a three ball, right? If you're not inside, you know how to defend it. Now you've got one, maybe two people inside. Mm-hmm. Now you can't solely go in after the three ball because now you've got a different option you can always go to, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed Dean for the last couple of years. Seen him in a couple of JV matches or JV games over the last couple of years, and thinking, boy, if he could just get a little confidence down low in that post, it'd be a nice addition at the varsity level to kind of go down to him in the post and let him do some work there and then kick it out for a much opener three-point shot. So it should open up the offense even more going forward. So nice seeing him filling in and filling out and being another option to go to.
And those passes last night, like especially from Chamberlain, were just incredible. On point, nice bounce passes. He had like a baseball throw from shortstop, I think you called it, Scott, down the court. Just a fun game to watch. So it should be an exciting year for the boys.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to watch for sure. as we look at the schedules. Now the girls coming up Monday, they will be at Eisenhower, and then Thursday they'll be home, but it's against Cathedral Prep, which is never fun to cover no matter what team you're covering. Anytime Cathedral Prep's in the house, they, again, the private school, the dominant force, that is always going to be what it is. Cathedral Prep's basketball program, they always run a good program. So the Beavers will have their hands full there. The idea, though, is to be competitive and get better. So they'll have their hands full. So Eisenhower, Cathedral Prep, and then another tough one on the road the following Monday on the 16th at Erie, who has quickly gotten very, very good. And good coaching staff there. Pardon me. As we take a look at the boys' schedule, Tuesday, they're at Cochranton tonight, so we will have that coverage tonight down up over wherever in Cochranton. Tim Jonkus on the call with us, and it'll be me, Steve-O, Tim, and Jack, and I think Lisa will be running main camera. And then after that, we go on the road to Clymer, which we're going to have to go get permission for that. New York State schools are a little different in that matter. But at Clymer, and then they're home against Northwestern. Those are the next 3 games for the boys. So the boys have an opportunity here to really get into the swing of things before they start that region play.
Yeah, they opened up the season last year with Cochranton, I remember, and they won that game pretty handily. So, hopefully they have a good result down there today again. And if they play like they did last night, I'm sure they'll come out just fine and start out 2-0 hopefully. But you never know. That's why you play the games. So.
And play them well.
Right.
Play air-free if possible. The boys, we watched that defense last night. Billy, our Northeast guy, he calls it the mother-in-law defense. I love that term. Tim calls it the hyena defense. He's going to start hacking here in a minute.
Going now.
You all right over there, Duke?
We're doing all right.
So it'll be interesting. The Beavers trying to make a name, both teams, I think, on strong defense. That pressure style defense and transition game and all that good stuff. We'll have to see what happens there. So, but both teams underway. Both teams sit 1-0 right now in the season, and we'll look to see what later today brings. Again, Lady Beavers will tip off against the Northwestern Wildcats, and the boys at Cochranton tonight. And full slate of action. Here we go. Winter sports underway. And Dewey, we're going to get to you in a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break, though. When we get back, we're going to be talking some wrestling season. Dewey's favorite time of the year, much to my volleyball liking. Captain Grapple, always waiting for wrestling season. So we'll take that quick break, and we'll be back right here on the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast, live from the Rossbacher Insurance Studios. We'll be back right after this.
There'd be a lot of things that didn't get accomplished if it wasn't for Corey Community Foundation. They've just really been a driver behind improving the community.
3 of the organizations that I'm heavily involved with get assistance, get advisement, along with grants from the Corey Community Foundation. Without their help, there are many things in the Corey area that would not happen.
Organizations know that they are backed up, that they have somewhere to go if necessary for their funds.
CCF can help coordinate funds with other major donors and groups like ECRA and the Erie Community Foundation, and helping us get grants, matching dollar grants. So it's a way to compound our impact.
It needs an organization that's trying to make things happen.
So by going through the Corey Community Foundation, it will ensure that our money gets put in the places we care about here within Corey.
You don't have to be a millionaire. You can leave a couple $100, you can leave a couple $1,000, you can leave whatever. When everybody pulls together, it makes a big difference.
Your money is long going to outlive you for the benefit and the good of the community. And so I have comforts in knowing that CCF, long after Brad and I are gone, is that we're still going to be able to provide value to Corey just by even giving a little bit to the Corey Community Foundation.
If you are carrying a balance on a high-interest credit card, it's time to switch cards and save. Transfer your balance to a Corey Federal Credit Union Visa Rewards card and enjoy. If you are carrying a balance on a high-interest credit card, it's time to switch cards and save. Transfer your balance to a Corey Federal Credit Union Visa Rewards card and enjoy 0% APR for 12 months while you earn reward points. Current card holders must have $500 or more in available credit. This offer is good through January 15th, so hurry into Corey Federal Credit Union today. Corey Federal Credit Union is located in Corey, Union City, and Spartansburg. Online at CoreyFCU.org. Some terms and conditions apply. Membership eligibility required. CFCU, federally insured by NCUA, equal housing lender.
Welcome to Salt Church. We have been in existence for 16 years already, and the main purpose of even having this kind of a experience with everyone is to really dive into the Word. We serve, we anoint, we live, and we train people to just be open to what God is doing in our lives. You are welcome here at Salt Church. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 here in the sanctuary, but we also have breakfast at 9 o'clock and discipleship training in between the two. So it's a really happening place here on Sunday mornings. We also have life groups, men's groups, women's groups, youth groups, worship stuff. We have all sorts of things for the whole family. Come check us out. We'd love to see you.
And welcome back in here to the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. My name is Scott Lockwood. He is Mr. Dewey Hurd and Mr. Stephen Mountain. As, well, fellas, I've lost a camera.
Well, shame on you.
Did it grow legs and walk away, or what are we dealing with here?
I'm not sure.
And it rolled away,
down the hill.
I'm not sure. But my frozen picture is on the screen, so I'm going to take a minute and fix it. And Dewey, why don't you start blabbering, because we're going to talk about wrestling.
Well, let's talk about wrestling. First and foremost, let's the schedule this coming Wednesday. The afternoon assembly wrestling match is back on the schedule.
Wednesday?
That'll
be fun.
1:15 assembly match against Union City again. A couple years ago they started it, and the next year we were at Union City, but they decided they didn't want to have an assembly match, so we had it at a regular 7 p.m. Start time. But this year they brought it back to another assembly, as Union City will come in and take on the Beavers. 1:15 for varsity. And then it looks like, I'm looking at the schedule here on the calendar, it says 2:30 will be junior or JV wrestling, and then middle school wrestling to follow at 3:30. And I didn't see the girls on there anywhere, so they must be having their own separate schedule. But for the most part, the girls will be right in with the boys for wrestling, and I believe they will go first, and then the junior high or middle school guys will be next, and then the varsity boys will be at the end of the night. So, but coming up on Wednesday, we have the assembly match again against Union City. This past week on Wednesday, we were supposed to go out to Youngsville, but due to the weather, the school was closed, so we weren't able to get that one in, so that'll have to be rescheduled. And then the following week, the week of the 15th through the 21st, the boys wrestle again on Thursday is middle school home against Conneaut. And the girls varsity wrestling team will be up against Sagertown. And the boys varsity match will be against Conneaut as well at 7 o'clock. So we'll be there for all that action on Thursday the following week.
So I was talking with Mr. Matt Still the other day. And Matt Still says, Corey's going to be pretty good this year. What is your take on the team, and what are you looking forward to seeing this year out of our Beaver wrestlers? Because they were pretty strong last year.
They're going to be holding their own this year. Let's take a step back and pull the view out a little bit further. Go to District 10. In the state, District 10 has 4 teams in the top 25 in the state. Reynolds is 4th. Cathedral Prep, which came down to AA, is 10th. You have Fort LaBeouf in there at around 17th, 18th, which is right where Corey is at, 17th or 18th. You have General McLean there as well, I think at 19th or 20th, somewhere right in there. So you have Reynolds, Cathedral Prep, Fort LaBeouf, Corey, and General McLean, 5 teams ranked in the top 25 in the state. And to whoever makes it to states this year, the 2 teams that get out of the Northwest region sub-qualifier, that's going to be a stout accomplishment heading into the state tournament.
And again, this senior class, right? Kale Albers,
Will Allen, Mason Savitz, Isaiah Bale, the list just goes on and on of good quality wrestlers. But we have a ton of seniors this year. Only graduated, I think, 3 seniors last year, and only one of them was a starter. Coach Proper and the boys reloaded and are ready to go again at it again this year. And ought to have some good quality matches throughout the year, and have hopefully a long-term run in the team sport at the end of the year.
So I'll just throw this out there then. At the end of the year, should we get to states as a team,
right,
we are making the trip down to the Giant Center.
We've been there before.
We've been there before.
A few years
they're going to put us like way up in the third ring row press box there, but it's a phenomenal view.
It is.
We can't go live, obviously, with video because it's all flow at that point. Kind of like the whole PCN network deal. I didn't touch on that either, which is a little I'll get to that another time. But when we were at states there covering wrestling, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Listening to you call wrestling is like listening to Michael Cole on WWE. Okay, it's that in depth and detail. And so many compliments we get because of your wrestling work. But to be able to just go there and do that audio broadcast at states like we did a few years ago, people tuned in and they just loved it because they didn't even have to watch it because Dewey over here
Captain
is just
Grapple painting the picture. You really, the video would be nice, obviously, but you really don't even need it when you got this guy. So.
Yeah, he's got his Picasso brush out, and he just started going to town on it, right? But that is something that we're looking forward to do. Wrestling fairly cheap to do at the state level. At playoff level, I think it's like volleyball, $200 and some bucks when you get to the finals or whatever of D10. Basketball, on the other hand, is a problem. Very expensive to cover. So we'll be looking to do that. But for wrestling, the Beavers are going to make a push, and they could end up going to states again this year.
They're going to have their work cut out for them, but I tell you, whoever makes it out of District 10 is going to, and they're going to make some noise at the state level as well. So it'll be a fun one. And I didn't mention it, but also you have Hickory that came back down to AA as well. So and Grove City is one of the other teams too that's up there as well. So very, very good representation by District 10 in the Northwest region, and whoever makes it out of that tournament is gonna have some fun down at Hershey this year.
They'll have earned it for sure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who are you looking forward to the most to watch this year? Do you have a couple key guys that you're gonna be like, man, I can't wait to see what they do this year?
There's just 2 guys that I'm really interested to watch this year. One is Mason Savitz. Without much need to be said about that. Senior absolutely is one of those kids that will absolutely stick you if you make the wrong move, and he's like a python. He gets a hold of you, and he just continues to constrict and sink the holds in deep. So I'm interested to see how he does coming into this year. He's healthy. He's put a lot of work in the off season to become a better wrestler. So I'm looking forward to seeing his hard work pay off and see how it impacts his season. So that's number one. Number two is a junior on the team, Stephen Willis. As a freshman, he kind of hit the scene and made a big splash. Last year, as a sophomore, I think everybody saw him on the radar from his freshman year and took note, and he had a little bit of a rougher year as a sophomore, so I like to see how he does as a junior going into this season, being more of a team leader on the team, being he's in the upperclassman level, but a good, phenomenal wrestler at the lower weights, and I like to see how he's doing in his off-season and conditioning and so on and so forth, and see what kind of an impact he can make on the team this year.
I like the Mason Savitz thing. I've said it since he was a freshman. I love watching Mason Savitz wrestle. He's and the few that I do get to come to, a couple times he didn't wrestle. I don't know if it's because they were just afraid or what was going on. But anyways, the other guy that I like, career wins, Will Allen.
Yeah.
The escape artist, Captain Houdini, who has made a couple splashes with some late second escapes to win matches or take the advantage late in a round, and I enjoy watching Will wrestle. I enjoy more watching his dad go bananas and then just sit in a chair and then go bananas again.
That's because he pulled a hammy celebrating on the sideline. So our official cheerleader, Brad Allen.
Yeah, Brad Allen.
So, but there's going to be a lot of good wrestlers to come down week in, week out and watch on the mats. You got the Nickerson boys coming back as well. They'll be kind of on the upper heavier weights, and it's just going to be a fun, exciting year. Not only do we have a new girls varsity team to cover as well, but there's some rules changes this year that the PIAA adopted to.
Yeah, so tell me about the 3-point takedown, because that's huge, right?
So this kind of all started back with college going to 3 points being awarded for a takedown as opposed to 2. So, excuse me, those yelling of 2 in the gym for wrestling match is going away. It's going to be 3.
Different. Yeah, it's
weird. We're going to be yelling 3. So you get 3 points for a takedown. Also, they adapted that you only need 1 point of contact to be in the circle to score points. So much like the NCAA, you either need to have 1 point of contact for yourself or 1 point of contact for your opponent to be inside the circle to score points.
So you get a big toe on the mat and you're laying in the corner of a mat. As long as that big toe's in, you're going to get points.
Sometimes guys like to wrestle right on the edge line, and it's easy that you just get out of the circle, and then no points can be scored against you. You start back in the new, whatever position, your down position or what. And PIAA picked up the same rules as what the NCAA has. So, excuse me. You can score points as long as you or your opponent has 1 point, a hand, a foot, a knee, an elbow. It's 1 point of contact still in the circle. And all that's going to do is just going to lengthen the out of bounds so that guys will be even further to the out of bounds. And it should help out with the guys that are going to score.
And it'll get rid of the intentional going out of bounds all the time when you're in trouble.
Right.
So that's good. Hey, we want to thank our main sponsors here on the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast this year. Of course, our main sponsor, Dynasty Construction. They have been second year running. They have been the constant on the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. Of course, Rossbacher Insurance. They sponsor the studio. Brad Allen and company, one of our biggest sponsors and supporters. Corey Federal Credit Union. on board this year for the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. And then, of course, where the sports stream all started, Salt Church. Pastor Al and the entire church, they've always been supportive, and I laugh every time we play that commercial and they say, just be open to what God is doing in your life. I'm a churchgoer. I go to Salt. This whole concept started at Salt Church when we launched the sports stream, and it's quite a unique story, and one tied to a few key people in that church. And but they were very encouraging to me when I told them, look, this is what I want to do. We started the live stream at Salt. We did a few other things, and now we're at a point today where we've got 40,000 viewers in 3 months, and just craziness that goes on. But those are our main sponsors for this podcast season. Season 2, Episode 1, almost in the books. When we come back, we'll have picks from the NFL coming up. Right after this, you're watching the Deej Peeps podcast on DeejExperience.com, on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back after this.
I do this because I love it. I love working with my hands. I love working with people. I love watching things transform from what they used to be to what we can make them become. We are a full-service general contractor. We do everything from the ground up. We take pride in the fact that we don't use a lot of subcontractors. We have our own in-house masons, cement, roofers, siders, drywall finishing, electricians. This is our 20th year in business. Our employees mean the world to us. We couldn't do what we do without the guys that we have. And we take pride in the fact that most of the guys that have been here for a very long time. If you're looking to have a project done, feel free to reach out to us.
So I'm Brad Allen at Rossbacker Insurance, and I just want to say that we're here to help you out. We can customize an insurance program for your family, for your business, whether you're a manufacturer, a contractor, a restaurant, a church, a civic organization. We have experience with all of those, and we insure a number of them. So we can help you out. We've got multiple carriers. We can put together a great program, customized to your needs, bundle it all together, get you great discounts. So give us a call or look us up on our website, teamrossbacker.com.
And welcome back in here to the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. Scott Long with Dewey Hurd and Stephen Mountain with us today. And every Saturday from now until who knows when, maybe July, who knows. I think we got 7 or 8 months. We got a late start this year because volleyball decided to go deep into the playoffs. And football went deep into the D10 playoffs. Ended up losing to Hickory in Meadville. That was a game I very much did not like, as Hickory and Sharon, both those teams just juggernauts. I don't know what it is about Mercer County football, but it's a mountain that D10 has yet to climb.
Yeah, it's a different level of football down there, and I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it quite yet, but it's a completely different level of football. And then you take another 30-minute ride further down the road, and you get into the Whippeal, and it's another step up in level.
Another
there.
nightmare.
So definitely football country down that way.
Well, speaking of football, it's time to start our NFL picks here in Week 14. We got a late start. Last year, Captain Elchinski joined in on it, and I'm sure he'll be here next week. Hopefully, we'll have him back because he brings a unique perspective from a coaching aspect of things. And so let's get into it with our picks for Week 14 in the NFL. And let me bring up the website here, fellas. As first of all, let's talk football for a minute. Everybody going crazy over the Lions-Packers game. oh, his knee was down, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? It wasn't an intentional kneel down, and if you're not touched by a defense player, you're not down.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just say this. Some of the officiating this year, you walk away from the TV and you're like, what was that? Does it really? I mean, it's just that there. You stammer, you stutter, you quote vowels, A-E-I-O-U. You're just baffled. I just.
Sometimes why?
The officiating, you just go, really? Why? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh,
and I've given up on trying to rewind it and watch it again. It just makes me more baffled. So the officiating, it's a head scratcher at best.
Well, so the Lions end up beating the Packers that game. All the turmoil and people with, I don't want to call it non-football knowledge these days, but and let's not get into the late hit on Trevor Lawrence, right? Yeah. At some point, when you design a run for the quarterback, you can't slide outside the pocket anymore, right?
Absolutely.
They've got to find a way where they change that rule. If you're going to quarterback and you're going to run the football, once you get past that line of scrimmage, you have to be fair game.
Well, it has to be something to the point where if you're running up the field, you can't just have that slide in your back pocket as a get out of jail free card. No. You got three guys barreling down on you from all different directions, and then you're supposed to slide, and all the defenders are supposed to just let up.
Right.
Yeah, I understand the point that they're going to come in and try to intentionally hurt the quarterback, but still, you can't have both sides of the coin there. It's either you limit the yards that you can gain on a quarterback run, or at some point you got to say he's outside the pocket. He's no longer a quarterback. He's free game.
And
Hit him.
If Lawrence doesn't slide in that play, he takes a big shot, but he's not going to get concussed or whatever the case may be with him. So it's. And what do you, like you said, what are you supposed to do if you're a defender? You can't just let up, and quarterbacks, chance he's going to run right by you,
and
right down the sideline like Mahomes does.
The other thing happens too is guys come up, and instead of just grabbing the quarterback and gently putting them down to the ground, now quarterbacks are bouncing off of that, and they're gaining more yards. Right. So they're really burning the defenses. So I mean,
it's lose if you're a defender.
So it's
Can you imagine Steve Atwater or Ronnie Lott playing in today's NFL, right? Can you imagine those guys? They would be fined and suspended for the rest of their career.
Some of the hits like Lawrence Taylor had and whatnot. I mean, excuse me, but look at it from the quarterback's perspective too. What do you think Namath would have said, or Tarkenton, or some of those guys, Terry Bradshaw, those guys that have just hung in there year after year
and took a beating?
Took a absolute.
It's a different game.
I remember when Deacon Jones dumped Bradshaw on his head and about broke his neck in 3 different places, right? Like, this is the NFL we're dealt with now. It's become a soft. I understand player safety, all that stuff, but when you sign in contracts, $230 million guaranteed, you know what you're signing up for, right?
Absolutely.
I don't like it. I don't like how they protect the quarterback. You have to have a pillow and blanket down on the field and lay him gently to get a sack these days. And God forbid if you fall on him with all your weight, because that's a foul.
Right.
Even Tom Brady said at some point they've got to I think he mentioned that, when a quarterback slides late, that the offense needs to be penalized for that. Because you can't continually penalize the defense for going full bore.
Right.
It's an emotional game. You're trained to attack, and they can't anymore.
Yeah, if you got a defender within, I don't know, one or two strides, you have to decide whether to give. You got to give yourself up early. You can't wait till the very last second to give yourself up. So
all right.
Well, we all agree that something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, something needs to be done. We've got off of the rails here a little bit on this topic, but we got to get picks in for this week, and we're going to start. It looks like the Browns and Steelers in Pittsburgh at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
I look for the Steelers to have a visit to out behind the tool shed with the Browns, and Steelers win by at least 14.
So Steve is playing secretary for this. Yeah. And I'll go next just because it's my team. I don't see the Browns winning 2 this year against Pittsburgh as much as I would love to see it. I think Pittsburgh's in too much of a mindset of being focused, getting ready for down the stretch.
Yeah, they still have a chance to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So
they're at home. I mean, I can't. My heart says Cleveland because being a Browns fan and 46 years of misery, but my mind is going Pittsburgh here in this one.
And the weather should be a little bit different than the snow blizzard that they played in, the snow globe they played in last time. So
yeah, I've also got the Steelers. I think Winston's been playing pretty well, other than last week with 2 pick sixes and 4 picks or 500 yards, whatever the case may be.
You're going to make me go here. You're going to make me go here.
But I think Russell Wilson is the better quarterback. He's kind of revitalized his career a little bit in Pittsburgh this year after a couple of rough seasons there. But I've got the Steelers as well.
Let me talk about Jameis Winston because you went there. Is he better than Deshaun Watson? Yeah, absolutely. I like the guy's character. I like the he's just that positive energy guy. I don't like he's like the downside of Brett Favre when it comes to gunslinging. Yeah. Like he'll make them throws in tight windows that you're just like, why did you just do that? And then he turns around and throws a 90-yard touchdown pass the next drive. Like,
yeah, he's a tin cup.
He is the definition of Cleveland Browns football. You love him, but you hate him at the same time.
Perfect place for him.
I just
he's at home.
Anyways, moving on to the next game, we got the New Orleans Saints traveling to play the G-Men against the Giants. I've got the Saints in this one. The Giants are kind of a mess.
Yeah, definitely a mess. Daniel Jones is gone, for better or worse. Who started last week? Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock, but I think Derek Carr. I take Derek Carr any day over Drew Lock. But like you said, they're just a disaster all year long. The Giants have been. So
I agree. Saints win this one in a nail biter, but they find a way to win on the road.
Jets at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins a completely different team with Tua at quarterback.
Well, the Dolphins fighting for their playoff lives at 5-7. This game between the Jets is always entertaining. They're always don't matter what the records are, throw it out the window. I go with the home team. Dolphins winning a nail biter.
Yeah, I've also got the Dolphins. I love Aaron Rodgers. I like him. He was a great quarterback. He's not who he used to be. I think
he doesn't have the team around him that he had either, and that's quite evident in New York. And the Jets have just been a hot mess for a long time, and I look for the Dolphins to come away with a win at home. Waddle's been warming up, and Hill has been taking off as well. So I just don't see the Jets being able to hang with them the whole game.
Jalen Waddle. I wish he would come to Cleveland. I just like Jalen Waddle for some reason. The Dolphins, I think they get in the playoffs, they're going to make some noise. But Tua has got to stay healthy. He's a concussion away from retirement.
And some would argue he probably should have retired after that last one. So
here we go. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock game. The 2-10 Jaguars taking on the 3-9 Titans in a barn burner. I got the Titans.
Yeah, my quarter lands on with the Titans as well.
Yeah, no Trevor Lawrence for the Jags. Titans.
Yeah, the Jags are 2-10. They lose their starting quarteback.
It's a game nobody wants to watch.
At the knee so much, Tennessee. Both teams kind of in the same boat there. I go with the home team.
Interesting game here as the 6-6 Falcons will play the 10-2 Vikings. Is this a trap game for Minnesota?
I love Kirk Cousins. He is my favorite quarterback in the NFL ever since he did that. You like that? Back when he was with the Redskins. It's been my number one guy ever since, even though I'm a Cowboys fan. And, going up against his former team, going back to Minnesota, I like the Falcons here. I do. I'm rolling with Kirk.
I'm sticking with the home team. You're home at 10-2. You're fighting for your playoff life there. That division with the Packers and the Lions and Minnesota. Every game's gonna matter there, right down to the very line. I'm going with the Vikings to get another win at home.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, I have to go Vikings at home. Minnesota, a tough place to win in. You get in that dome and the skull chants. Yep.
You're going to have the Falcons going to give them everything they got, but I don't know if Cousins has got enough in him to put the team on his back and go up against Minnesota in Minnesota.
This one probably unanimous choice as well. The 3-9 Panthers at the 10-2 Philadelphia Eagles. I've got the Eagles in this one easily.
Snooze fest here. Eagles win by 3 scores.
Yep.
3 scores.
3 scores.
He's calling it out. All right, let's go. This one's going to be an interesting game. The 6-6 Buccaneers will be hosting the 2-10 Las Vegas Raiders.
Repeat of a Super Bowl not too long ago. I look for the Buccaneers to win easily at home here. Baker Mayfield, kind of an up and down season this year, but the Raiders just haven't.
What? Did he just say what I think he said?
You just totally offended Scott. That's his guy, Baker.
Baker, an up and down year. Buccaneers at 6-6. They haven't been putting a ton of points up. They started out of the gate pretty well, but then kind of tripping over themselves lately. But I like the Buccaneers. I'm going with the Bucs on this one.
I'm baffled.
I didn't say anything about Baker's playing.
I'm baffled. Up and down year.
Well, yeah, you're at 6-6 for crying out loud.
I've had some injuries. Mike Evans was out there for a couple weeks with a bad hamstring injury, so. But I got the Bucs.
The floor is yours, Scott. What do you got to say about this game?
Listen, I'm taking the Buccaneers easily over the Raiders. I'm still trying to comprehend the up and down season for Baker Mayfield.
I didn't say Baker. I said the Buccaneers.
Oh,
with Baker.
That's not what I heard.
I thought he said Baker as well.
Yeah, that's. I think he's backpedaling here a little bit.
Whatever.
He's backpedaling.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Anyways, I've got the Buccaneers.
Me too.
Eventually, he just gives up and he doesn't defend himself anymore.
Not much of a point sometimes, is there?
No, there isn't.
Just keep
digging.
I will dig.
Yeah. Next.
I will dig. 7-5 Seattle at the 6-6 Cardinals. Both teams trying to fight through here. This is a flip of a coin for me on this one.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you, but I'll give you something to talk about. I like Geno Smith and what he's doing in Seattle. I'm going with the Hawks on this one. I like the road team. They got some grit. They're leading the division. It's going to be a dogfight the rest of the season. But I look for Seattle to carry through with a 1-point victory here.
I like the Cardinals. I think Geno he's fine. He's serviceable. He's like a game manager kind of to me. I think Kyler's the guy to go out and make a play if you need it. Kind of. He adds that mobility.
I kind of feel like this game is going to come down to the last play of the game, and I see the Hawks winning.
We've seen Kyler do that before. He threw that Hail Mary to Hopkins. I've got the Cardinals. It's a divisional game. It'll be a close game. I think it'll be tight, but I think the Cardinals will win.
At Arizona, I think I'm going to go Cardinals here too. So Dewey's got an outlet to go up one on us. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr., former Buckeye.
Maserati Marv, as some would call him.
Yeah. I like it. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one. And that'll take us to the next game here. And we've got the Chicago Bears taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Bears, kind of a down year.
It's a down year, but the 49ers are kind of down too. And
Christian McCaffrey
is hurt. And Eberflus, the Bears head coach, is gone now. So first game after a fired head coach, you get that interim guy in there. You kind of maybe get a spark going on. So I think that's maybe could be a closer game than one might think. But I'm still going to take the 49ers.
Yeah, I got the 49ers at home. I just don't think the Bears have been bad for a couple years too long here. At some point, you got to turn the page.
Yeah, you've got to improve somewhere, and constantly changing head coaches or constantly they're turning into the Browns with their quarterbacks.
Hey,
so
watch your mouth over there.
I got the Niners winning this one.
He's just really digging a hole now, Steve.
Finding new buttons to press here today.
All right, next game on the tally sheet here, we've got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Rams, and trap game again on the road against Los Angeles. But you know what? You've got an MVP player in Josh Allen. No doubt in my mind he should win MVP this year. I just think the Bills have too much firepower, and you got to go with a hot hand. I'm taking Buffalo.
I think this game is a trap game for the Bills. They may be looking ahead to next week where they have to go to Detroit.
Boy, what a game that's going to be.
We'll get to that next week. But anyways, this week, I always say you go with the home team unless you can say that something about the visitors really makes it stand out. Bills at 10-2. They've gone to L.A. A couple years ago, and they absolutely manhandled the Rams in L.A. So I'm going with the Bills to ride their defense to a victory here in a defensive struggle, as I think both the offenses struggle in this game. I think the Bills win a tight one, win by 5.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win. I don't know that it'll be tight like you just said, but did you see that Josh Allen touchdown the other day where he threw it to Cooper?
Yeah, Cooper flipped it back to him.
In the snow. It's just, that's the MVP play right there. But yeah, I've got the Bills.
Amari Cooper.
I miss him. We both miss him on both of our teams. Yeah.
I miss him. Let's go. The highlight of the week is going to be the 8-4 Chargers at the 11-1 Kansas City Chiefs, and it's hard to beat the Chiefs anywhere. Divisional game. It's gonna be a lot closer than I think people are gonna say it's gonna be, but I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes at home. I'm gonna go Chiefs. As much as I am rooting for the Chargers to win this game, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs.
I'm going on the other side. I'm going with the Bolts. I think they got a few more guys back that they didn't have in the earlier game this year. One being Bosa. Didn't play in the first game, and that's the game that the Chiefs won 17-10. Chiefs have just been living on that edge, and I think this is a game that they just dig themselves a hole and can't get out of. So I take the Bolts to win this one.
Yeah, Arrowhead's always a tough place to play, especially at a Sunday night football game, divisional game. I'm a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I like him, and I think that team's a little better now than they were earlier on in the year when they played against each other. You know, Herbert and Harbaugh have had more time together. And I'm taking the Chargers here.
So Chargers? You both went Chargers?
Well, it's going to be tough against, the 12th man, so to speak. They're wearing the stripes on the field for the Chargers. But
all right, one more. It's the Monday nightcap. 8:15 in Dallas. The Bengals will come to town, and I'm taking the road team here in this one as the Bengals fighting to get back to 500. Cowboys had a bit of a down year this year. I don't know what's going on in jury world, but it's not been good for the Cowboys.
Well, when you go all in on the offseason like Mr. Jones claims, then you don't sign anybody. It's kind of hard to make an impact.
What are you going off on or going all in on?
Well, that's what he said they were going to do in free agency. They were all in, and then they let Derrick Henry sign with the Ravens, and they bring back Zeke, who's just a total shell of his former self. And, you lose Dak. You're 3-7 at one point. I've got the Bengals. I hate to say it, but.
Oh, wow. We're going to have a clean sweep then. Everybody's picking the Bengals on this one.
That defense is just atrocious for the Cowboys. They've gotten a little better here lately. They got some guys back, Lawrence and whatnot. But
Burrows has been going off on teams this year. His team is 4-8 on the year. It ain't due to his play as he's racked up 30 points in, I think, 5 or 6 games. And I'd look for him to put a good 30 spot on Dallas again tonight in the Monday night game. Yeah. And I look for the Bengals to get the W.
All right. Picks are in the book. Steve-O's got them all written down there. We'll start tallying them up, and we'll be back next week with the results. And that's going to do it. Season 2, Episode 1 in the books, fellas. Thanks for joining me this morning. And hopefully next week we get Mr. Elchinski back as we look forward to a full slate of winter sports games here on the Deej Experience Sports Stream. Last words.
Yeah, looking forward to really getting into the swing of the winter season here with Mother Nature cooperates moving forward, and should be fun.
Beaver Nation back in full force again, ready for the winter sports to start.
There we go. I was waiting for him to chime in there. For Mr. Mountain, Mr. Dewey Hurd, my name is Scott Lockwood. Thank you for tuning in and watching the Deej Peeps Sports Podcast. We'll be back same time, same place next Saturday, 11 a.m. Hopefully we'll have some special guests, and we'll have a great season coming up here on the podcast. Until then, God bless you all. Have a great day.